State Senator Lindsey Graham.
Thank you. Well, one, I'm very glad I came. I talked to Governor McMaster yesterday, who's, I think, doing a great job, him and his team. Thank you to the National Guard. Thank you to the State Guard. So, thanks for coming and educating me. What have I learned on my trip? Aiken County needs more, and it needs it now. More is coming. We're going to expedite everything that we can. I'm going to call the Red Cross. They've done a great job, but we're going to try to get that distribution center up and moving. I talked to President Biden yesterday. This is a disaster of monumental proportion. We need to be back in Congress, in my view, and pass a supplemental bill to help people like South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, all these states. North Carolina has just been devastated. That's going to be probably $150 billion. But that's why the government exists. That's why you pay your taxes. I can't say we spend all your money well, but we're going to spend this well. What have I learned? I've learned that North Augusta is the worst hit, and that's saying a lot. It really is saying a lot, because I've seen a lot of bad things. This is Hurricane Hugo for our part of the world. I live up in Seneca. This is usually what coastal communities experience, but we've gotten the brunt of it here. It turned in a way we didn't calculate, and sort of the rest is history. So my takeaways, what I need to do, I need to call FEMA. They haven't seen anybody from FEMA here in Aiken County. Before the sun rises tomorrow, you will. Call the Red Cross, try to speed up distribution. I am going to reach out to Minion and the co-ops and see if we can get more people down here to get power on quicker. There are folks all over the state, from all over the country, and I'm going to try to direct some of those resources this way. Generally speaking, by Friday, most of the state's going to have power. You've been the hardest hit, and to hear that it may take through next week is heartbreaking, but I understand why. I do believe we can speed that up if we get more people down here, and my goal is to try to get you more people to speed this thing up. So from my point of view, I've been coming to Aiken County for the last 30 years, got a lot of friends here, and I am sorry. I am sorry you've been hit so hard. My heart breaks. I think we've had 5 or 6 die. Remember, whatever you've lost, 5 or 6 people, I think it's 6 now, have been killed. They've lost everything. So as we suffer through our losses, we all also ought to count our blessings. And we are blessed to live in a place where people do help each other. And what you said, Mayor, was just very, very right on. Thank you to everybody. Now, here's another problem. I told President Biden, thank you for coming, stopping in Greenville, going to North Carolina. Asheville is just, I've been to war zones for the last 30 years, and I'm going back soon. I've seen things here that I've only seen in war zones. Asheville is an island. And Aiken County has just been whacked and hit so hard. The ports are shut down. There's a port strike all over the East Coast, down to Texas, and the Port of Charleston is vital to our economic well-being in South Carolina. And I told President Biden, I understand people trying to get more wages, but now is not the time to shut our ports down. The hospitals are going to run out of medical supplies. Food on the shelves is going to be harder to get if that port stays closed. True for Savannah, true for Charleston. So one of the things I'm going to try to do is elevate the need to get these ports opened. You're adding misery to pain. The people in this area have lost, literally, some people, everything. Their lives, their livelihoods, and now is not the time to shut down a vital service to the people of South Carolina, Georgia, and North Carolina, which are our ports. So President Biden, get this done. People have been devastated. Don't add misery to pain. There are no excuses for these ports to be shut down in the middle of all of this. They're called critical infrastructure in federal law because if an enemy knocked their ports down, you knock us out. And here we're doing it self-inflicted. We had a natural disaster, now we've got a man-made disaster coming and having our port shut down. So fix that and fix it now. When we rebuild,
Let's be smart about it. President Biden said it costs 7 times more to bury lines than to put them up. I'm willing to pay because I think we'll get our money back over time. We need to come up with a national plan to avoid having to do this all the time. Power lines being knocked down by trees, killing people, happens way too much. So if we can get more power lines underground, I think we'd be smart to do it. Gary, you said something that's pretty stunning. Decades of electrical infrastructure wiped out in 4 hours. Just think about what he said. All the things we've done to build up this county to make it a good place to live and do business in terms of power supply has been wiped out in 4 hours. So we got to start all over again, and here's what I'll say. I'll get you all the money I can get that's reasonably needed down here. I just want a plan that where we learn from what happened here. Doing the same thing over and over again makes no sense. So to the people of Aiken County, you need more, you're going to get more. Thank you.
We're going to go take some questions.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to open up for questions. If you have questions from the representatives of the media. Yes, sir.
Senator, you mentioned the federal aid package that you're hoping to get.
Yeah.
I also remember that there was some conversation about an emergency energy declaration.
Yeah, that's been done.
That's been done. Okay. What kind of size or scope of package?
I talked to President Biden. Nobody really knows yet, but just driving down, I'm going to Edgefield next. And I've been coming down here, driving from Seneca to Aiken for 30 years. And it's something I'm, Tom, you said it well. I mean, this is something biblical in nature, really. So I think $150 billion is probably going to be needed. And President Biden sort of agreed with that. I told him I want to do 2 things. I want to get back to Washington. That's where we need to be. We need to get back as soon as we can, get the package put together, then get back and pass it as soon as we can. You need more and you need it sooner. So that's what I'm urging the Congress to do, to find out what we need, get back in town and pass it. But these ports, I'm here to tell you that whatever problems we have today are going to get worse if we don't open up these ports. Hospitals are going to run out of medical supplies. The food on the shelves are going to run out.
Did the president give you any answer when you asked about intervening in the strike?
He described the problem. I'm looking for an answer. It's not, I don't begrudge people for trying to get a better deal. The ports are important to the public safety and well-being of this part of the United States. And if they're shut down in the middle of this crisis, it will be unconscionable. Whatever increase in wages you're trying to negotiate, can we please help the people who have lost everything? Their house, their livelihood, their kids can't go to school. The hospitals are going to be running out of necessary medicine. The shelves are not going to be stocked with food that people need because everything's shut down. So please, let's look out for the welfare of us all. Let's stop this strike and stop it now, and you can take up your cause later. People are literally on their last leg.
Senator, you talk about the plan for nationwide to be better prepared for natural disasters like this. What kind of in details do you think you need that?
Well, I just think one thing I want to look at is, how can you mitigate this stuff? But like burying power lines, I'm sure that's not the perfect answer, but if you drive down between here and Seneca, you're going to see power lines down. Well, what if they're underground? I think they'd be working. I mean, I know it costs more on the up front. I'm sure it's very expensive, but I think we'll get our money back. I think there are people be alive today that if we'd buried power lines, what's that worth? That's worth a lot to me.
You talked about, making those calls after today and getting more help out here. What do you think your priority is going to be? Is it going to be power? Is it going to be getting people?
FEMA will be here before the sun rises tomorrow. They're the ones that know the system, and they've done a good job. They need to come here. Am I right in saying that the county hasn't had a FEMA representative? Is that fair? that's gonna end. You haven't had anybody in North Augusta. We're gonna get some people down here. It's easy to criticize, but I'm gonna reach out and try to fix that problem for y'all, Gary. Second thing is the Red Cross. They're under siege too, but there's a blockage down here that we can fix pretty quickly. I'm not gonna call people mad, I'm just gonna identify a problem and hope it gets solved and insist that it does. There are a lot of people down here, we need to send some to Aiken County, and they will come. Yes, ma'am?
Senator, you're talking about sending people here, we've seen the National Guard and some resources sent from the state level, but again, you're just saying, no one from FEMA has been here.
Well-
What are the federal resources and the federal help? that
Well,
can
get
show up?
FEMA here to assess what you need, then fulfill the request. I'm gonna call Dominion, I'm gonna call the co-ops. There are a bunch of crews all over the upstate, from all over the country. Can we maybe divert a few of them down here? As power goes on up there, let's move them down here to expedite your needs.
Do you feel as though a lot more attention has been placed on the upstate and on North Carolina?
No,
I'm hearing from a lot of our viewers who feel like they've been forgotten about.
Yeah.
When you have seen what you have seen today.
let me just say this. Vice President Harris was in Augusta, was it yesterday?
Yes, yes.
So you're not being forgotten about. I'm here, the governor's been here. I think the extent of the damage, I think the fact you've been hit harder than anybody else, and the recovery task in Aiken County seems to be monumental. So that's created a problem of its own, and I think it's a fair question. Have we directed enough resources dealing with the monumental needs? And I think the answer is no. So I think we're going to fix that. I don't want to criticize people. Every police officer out there has had the same thing happen to their family you've had happen to yours, but they're leaving their family to protect yours. Same with all the first responders. Everybody has been hit, so now's the time to lock arms, like the mayor said, and appreciate each other. But FEMA needs to be here, and they're coming. And when they get there, hopefully we can expedite stuff. The power company, I'm going to call and say, is there any way we can be creative to expedite getting power up and running in Aiken County sooner than the end of next week? Would more people help? And if the answer is more people will help, we'll try to find them. Thank y'all all, to all of you out there. I am so sorry, and I will do the best I can to help you. And the main thing I leave here with is just keep helping each other. God bless you.
Thank you. Senator.
Thank you.